Alright, you guys, the developers have officially gotten back to us, and this one's kind of big, so tune in. This is the biggest update we've gotten officially. So I'll give you guys the too long didn't read version first. They said in their own post, not mine, if you don't have time, crossplay and player reporting will be available in 6 to 9 weeks, so maybe 1 to 2 months, and new rank queue will be made available in a couple of months. Now they sent out like a huge post, and I'm going to try to tackle it. So if you guys want to stay here and listen to me ramble about everything they said, sure. If not, crossplay 6 to 9 weeks, rank in a couple of months. That's all you need to know. All right. Okay, the next part talks about in 1 week, literally in just like about a week, they're going to have some kind of mapping for the game buttons. I love that because I think soft lobs are pretty inconsistent for me, and that's fantastic. They're also talking about fixing a bug with the goalie's hands not quite getting the ball and tackles not landing, but that's going to be a bit more complicated and it might take a little bit more time. So that might be unfortunate for some people, but I'm glad that they've acknowledged it. More good news. They said at the absolute latest that crossplay will be available early September when they start season 1. So September is kind of a ways away, but like to add crossplay to a game that we kind of felt we should have had it, but they didn't get it out in time. It's still kind of nice. They did say 6 to 9 weeks, so maybe we might get it a little bit sooner, or maybe it'll be right on the edge of September. But it's still good to know that nonetheless. So like Rocket League, there's going to be in-game tools to report players, and that's fantastic. They don't really want toxicity in the game. They understand that it's in a lot of games, so they're trying to give us the tools to deal with it. I think the ban still might be about 3 days, but we'll be able to report players, so that's pretty fantastic too. The downside is it's not coming also until roughly September. Okay, with this one, I'm going to go a little bit more into it. This is for ranked queues. So new ranked queues, we see a lot of requests for rank 3v3 and 4v4. We probably will not add 2 new competitive queues right away, since they can split the player base. So I actually like 5v5, and I have no problem playing quick matches in 3v3 and 4v4, but I understand that a lot of you do. Although ideally, I like this game, like the ranked as 5v5, so I kind of get them wanting to like wait on this. They are saying that they're currently estimating the work to be done to release a new one in a couple of months. This requires back-end work, but also UX and UI updates to player profiles and the match screens, etc. More news on this soon. Yeah, so I think they're just trying not to have the player base split, but still trying to attempt something there. Maybe take a look on that one as well, because there's a lot more. This is a really long paragraph. Let me sum it up for you. Okay, for ranking and matchmaking, I think I'm going to read this whole paragraph just so you guys can follow along. Ranking and matchmaking. We are also seeing a lot of discussion around the ranking system, and for good reason. It is the main way for players today to measure their skill progression in Rematch. To clarify, the current system we use open skill to calculate a player's matchmaking skill rating. This allows us to then create balanced games by ensuring that the average skill level of both teams is close. Based on the data we're observing, this is an aspect of the system that seems to be working well. On the other hand, as we were facing issues with our matchmaking queues at launch, we had to loosen the restrictions. That makes sense. I know a lot of bronze players and some other players had to wait like 50 minutes just to get into a game, so I understand where they're coming from. For the skill difference between players within the same team, this means that while the average rating of the 2 teams will be balanced, players can be teamed up with other players of significantly different skill levels. The matches will be balanced, but it can be frustrating to have to carry a lower level player. So we're looking right now at how to improve this in order to both have games as fair and balanced as possible while still minimizing queue times. The ranking system uses a different logic. It is a representation of our skill, but also a progression system. It is not used directly to select the players and create the teams, and with stricter parameters on skill difference within teams, this restriction should not be necessary. On a similar note, we decided to allow players to queue up together, whatever their respective ranks. Rematch is a game about playing football with friends, and for instance, if Masters wanted to team up with a couple of gold friends, we think that they should be able to. And after all, This is football. We often see young talented players get a chance to play in the big leagues and perform amazingly well. Um, I actually agree with this. I think the farther this is actually funny because I really disagreed with this when I was plat, diamond, and gold. I didn't care too much, but let me tell you why it's like different as I get farther into elite. I notice that as my friends are climbing up the ranks with me, the games that I'm playing with people are more back and forth and more intense. This is actually like pretty accurate. I think the problem is like you just want your 5-man team to be close. But the thing is if your 5-man team has a couple bronze, then the enemy team, if they're not using like Smurf accounts, are also going to have a couple bronze or silvers. And I think this is accurate. I didn't know this at the time, but the more I feel like I play this game and the farther I get into elite, the more this makes sense because my friends are climbing up there with me, you know? And in turn, my games are getting more strategic. At the end of the day, if you don't want to play with teams that like suck or mix up, then your friends are gonna have to climb up the ranks. This actually, in a way, does remind me more of Rocket League, and it's closer. If not, I actually think it's a little bit better. They still might make some adjustments, but I just want to give my 2 cents on it after playing this game significantly for like 100 hours longer at level 200 versus when I started. Here's a good one. A final note on demotion protection. Currently in Rematch, you can now rank down a whole league from gold to silver, for example. This has positive effects, notably diminishing anxiety and frustration around the ladder experience. I'm kind of there with that. I've always kind of agreed with that. But it comes with multiple drawbacks, which have been justly pointed out by the community. I also agree with that. It's a really mixed bag, right? I have a lot of friends who actually would rather be demoted, which is crazy to me. I feel very indifferent about that because I feel like it keeps me in my skill gap, but also I can't get too much farther unless I improve without feeling like hurt or being stuck in a lower place, and that can feel different. So I think they might clean this up a bit, but let me keep reading. Let's see. Drawbacks, which have been justly pointed out by the community. We're looking at this closely, and we'll have updates on this topic soon. So I guess maybe a couple days, a few weeks, but we're going to get an update about how they're going to improve the drawbacks of not being able to get demoted from your rank. So I guess we'll see that in a little bit. So they said really soon they're going to make another blog post on all the details about this ranked information. So I don't think we're going to be waiting months. I don't even know if we're going to be waiting weeks. I think we might be waiting a few more days, and then we're going to get a bunch of details on what they're going to be doing with ranked. So it's kind of nice to get some kind of update there. Let's continue onward. Okay, this is servers and regions. I'm actually going to read this whole one because this is the last like 2 huge paragraphs about it. So let's get into servers and regions. Just like football, Rematch is a game that is played all over the world, which creates significant challenges in server distribution and latency optimizations. We are currently looking into deploying a solution to optimize the routing of packets on networks to reduce latency, which will be deployed in South America first, which is one of the regions with recurrent latency issues, before being deployed to Middle East and other regions. Once we confirm results, we are also reviewing our server locations and total number of regions to ensure best possible latency for the largest number of players. There are other improvements we are planning to do, and along with the gameplay netcode improvements mentioned above, the objective is to ensure that players have the smoothest possible online experience. That's absolutely fantastic because we all want that. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's nice that they're looking there, and they're starting with South America servers first. So you're in South America, that's fantastic. That is literally it. I went through their whole post with you, and it's kind of nice to get an update on this stuff. I'm a little sad we might have to wait a couple months, but a couple months for a game to be completely improved is absolutely fantastic. I just hope it stays to live through its time because games are really weird. Sometimes games do really good, like Fall Guys and Knockout City, like at their start, and then they like crash and burn after literally such a small amount of time. And it's like really sad. I have a lot of enjoyment for Rematch. Alright, well if you guys liked all that update information, throw down a like, a subscription if you want. Not a subscription, subscribe to me. What am I talking about? Jesus. Anyways, thanks for tuning in.